Do you like rats? I hope so, because today we're gonna learn about rats that do a very important job. Today we're gonna learn about HeroRATs. It all started in Belgium in the 90s as a research project to determine if rats could be used to detect landmines. APOPO started for real in 1997 by training African giant pouch rats to find landmines. By the year 2000, they moved their rat training to Tanzania, where the rats actually come from. At the APOPO Visitor Center in Sieam Reap, you can get a lot of information about how rats are used to clear up landmines, and you also get to meet these adorable little critters. Anti-personnel and anti-tank mines that are left after wars is still a big problem in many countries. Thousands of people are still killed every year from these remaining mines, so it's a very important job to clear up the land. Big parts of Africa and Asia still have lots of minefields, as well as parts of Europe and South America. APOPO started deploying their mine-seeking rats in Mozambique in 2008 to great success. By 2015, Mozambique was deemed completely free of landmines. Not only due to the rats, of course, it's a combined effort by humans, dogs, rats, and lots of other methods, but the rats help to a high degree. Most of all, the rats are quick, compared to scanning a piece of land with a metal detector, which could take 4 days. A rat can do it in half an hour. That's because rats are trained to sniff out only the explosives and not the metal. In other words, they won't be fooled by a pin somewhere, they will only sniff out TNT. And they're also really adorable, that's another big benefit. In 2012, APOPO's operation expanded to Angola as well, and in 2015 they opened a center here in Cambodia. They are now present at 4 locations in Cambodia, and they have cleared out 20 million square kilometers of land. APOPO isn't just present in those countries I mentioned though. Look at all these countries where rats have been successfully clearing mines. APOPO's rats are all called HeroRATs, and they deserve that name. The rats in Cambodia that have sniffed out the most amount of landmines are called Ronin, Lady Diana, and Charlene. We didn't get to meet either of those rats here, unfortunately. They are out on important missions. Magawa is the most famous of the HeroRATs. All rats aspire to reach up to his status. One reason that they use the African giant pouch rat in particular is that they are long-lived. They can live up to 8 years, and since the training can take 1 year, they want the rats to live as long as possible. Normal rats only live up to 3 years, so imagine if those had been used. Okay, 1 year training, then out in the field, and then it's time for retirement, almost immediately. Speaking of retirement, the last year of a rat's life is led in comfort. They get an air-conditioned room and plenty of food and, well, it sounds pretty good, doesn't it? I wanna be a rat as well. APOPO are doing more than just train rats to find landmines. They're also teaching rats to find tuberculosis in patients. So far, rats have been used successfully in both Mozambique and Tanzania to find tuberculosis. Just like with landmines, the prime reason for using rats to detect tuberculosis is the speed. So the APOPO rats apparently have a lot of different uses. Senior Technical Advisor Mark has graciously allowed me to ask a few questions. How come you chose to work with APOPO?
I choose to work with APOPO. First of all, is like a way of finding life in this world. So I was looking for a job, and then finally I got myself into APOPO.
Could you please tell me a little bit about how the animals are trained?
We train them clicker sound. Why we do train clicker sound to them is because they don't understand any language. So this is the only way to communicate with these animals. When they do a desired behavior that we want them to do, we click, and when you click, you give them a reward, either peanut or banana, then they are happy. So they are working for food. So when they master clicker training already, we introduce scent, which is explosive by that means, because these mines are going for mine action. So introduce them scent, TNT smell. So when they go and sniff on the TNT smell, and then again they click, because they know that clicker means food, then they will stop sniffing the TNT, then they will come to receive a reward, either peanut or banana. On the ground, in the reed mine field, we have many objects there, and we want the rats only to go for an object that is containing TNT only. So we introduce different odors, whether it's a washing powder or coffee, whatever the thing, but we want our rat only to go and indicate on the TNT smell. Now I'm bringing a rat down to the training area, where on their first days on the training area, there they meet with real mines, but they cannot explode because they are detonated. And then the distance from one mine to another is a bit closer, because we want them to find as many tags as they can, so they can hear, click and find food, get food as many times as they can for them to be happy. In every single stage, normally we have a test. So if a rat passes the first time of its test, then it can go to another stage. If it fails, it has another 2 chances to go. So every single stage, you have 3 chances of being tested. So if it fails the first time, given a second time. If it pass, goes to another stage. If it fails, he has one more stage to go. One more chance to do test. When it passes, can go to another stage. When it fails, then this rat cannot continue with studies. This is the way how we do train them. And then after they are trained back in Tanzania, they're full competent already, they do internal accreditation test to be happy that these rats, when they are being sent abroad, they are capable of doing that one. After that one, then the rats are sent abroad. When they're sent abroad to their destination countries, they have at least 5 weeks of acclimatization period. This is where they get to know their new handlers in that particular country, because they were trained with the other handlers in Tanzania, but when they are sent to abroad, they're not going with their handlers. So they need to get attached to other handlers in that particular country. And then thereafter, they do again accreditation test in that particular country according to the rules from the mine action authorities of that country. When they do pass the blind testing again, accreditation test in that particular country, then the rats now can be allowed to work in the reed mine field in that country.
Many people dislike rats. Do you like rats personally, or did you grow to like them through work?
Yeah, you are right. As everyone does, I was the same also, because no one thinks that a rat can be a pet as well, like people do with the cats and the dogs and other animals. So before I was not good with the rats. I don't like rats, because in the houses they destroy maybe food or clothes, whatever the thing. But that's why when I had APOPO is training rats to sniff landmines, I was like, what? It was not very clear to me by the time. First of all, I was thinking that maybe they are just these normal rats. But when I got into APOPO, actually there were these African giant pouch rats from the wild. So before I was also afraid of the rats, but now after being working with them, now I like them. So if I find sometimes maybe a wild rat is hit by a car on the road, I feel like, oh, these are our colleagues, but they're still in the field, in the wild. If we could know that you were here, we could have taken you back to our camping site. So I wasn't grew up liking them, but I'm now working with them, so I do like them.
APOPO has been active more than 20 years. Where do you think that the HeroRATs have made the most difference?
The country that APOPO did a very great job is in Mozambique, because APOPO started working in Mozambique from 2003 all the way to 2014, where Mozambique was declared that is now free from landmines. So I'm proud of that one. APOPO also proud of that one, because we did a great job in Mozambique.
APOPO is a Belgian acronym that I won't even try to pronounce, but the English meaning is Anti-Personnel Mine Detection Product Development. It's a non-profit, non-government organization, and they do their best to help people in war-ravaged countries. Rats are better than dogs at sniffing out mines for a couple of reasons. One is that they're smaller. Even these giant rats only get up to 1.2 or 1.4 kilos, and that's not enough to release an anti-personnel mine that triggers at 2 kilos. Rats are also a little bit more of a mercenary. They work for food, and they don't really get as close an attachment to their trainer as dogs do. Now it's time for some criticism as well. Rats are great, but they aren't great in all circumstances. It's not suitable to use rats in areas with thick vegetation, for example. And you also can't use rats in, for example, nut farms, because the rats would stop and eat all the nuts. APOPO and their rats have worked for more than 20 years, and they've saved thousands and thousands of lives. If you get the opportunity, go to one of the visitor centers to see the rats and get a lot more information. And if you can't get to a center, consider adopting a rat instead. No, you won't get the rat itself, but you will be doing a good thing. That was a very quick visit to the APOPO Visitor Center in Sieam Reap, Cambodia. I hope you found it interesting. Like and subscribe, but most importantly, have a great day.